Hey everyone, this is Dr. Drizzle and welcome to the National Parks Expedition Challenge. Wave. Wave. Today we're at Sugar Land's Visitor Center in the Great Smoky Mountains National Park, here with my new friend Ranger Brad.
How you
Ranger
doing?
Brad, thank you so much for having us here today.
Oh, it's an honor for you guys to be here.
Yes, you picked a very beautiful place for us to do our interview. So Brad, tell us, how did you get to this place?
Well, I had to go to school. That was the most important thing, and my passion has always been history. And the one cool thing about the National Park Service is that not only do we protect the beautiful nature around us, plants and animals and all that, but if you look at our emblem, it's an arrowhead, so we also preserve the history of our nation. So I went to school, got my bachelor's degree and master's degree in history, started working at different national parks, and here I am at the Smokies.
So what's your favorite national park?
It's got to be Great Smokies,
Yes.
and they've got the word great in front of it, but I have to say I like battlefields because I'm a Civil War buff, and so I do like Antietam Battlefield, Gettysburg, and those kind of places.
So our kids know that the National Park System is made up of a certain amount of parks, but that includes monuments, memorials, and landmarks, and historical sites and battlefields.
Right.
So we have over 400, I think, at last count.
We do, and there's like 29 different designations of different types of parks out there.
So today we're actually at a national park site. This is the Great Smoky Mountains National Park.
Yes, ma'am.
So I have also read that this is the most visited park.
Yeah, of the national parks it is, not of the national park system.
Right.
But of the national parks it is the most visited. We had about 10 to 12 million people a year compared to number 2, Grand Canyon at 5 million.
So why do you think that is? Why do you think the Smoky Mountains has that number of people here?
Well, we believe it's because of where we're located. We're located so close to most of the population of the eastern United States. We're very close to Chicago, Atlanta, Washington, D.C., and we're about the only national park in the eastern United States, so we're very close to all those different places. Plus, we don't charge an entrance fee. We're a free park.
That's really nice. We appreciate that. So remember that, guys. You can come here and there's no charge to get in.
Okay.
So tell us a little bit about what makes the Smoky Mountains so great.
Wow, that is an easy question. And it goes back to diversity. This park is so diverse. No matter what you look at in this park, it's diverse. You look at the geology here, the different types of plants and animals we have here, and we believe, are close to about 100,000 different life forms here in the Smokies.
Wow.
We've only found about 20% of that. But the history here I was talking about, going back to the Native Americans to modern history, you name it, it's just the diversity that we have here in the Smokies. Even we was talking about air quality. We have difference in air quality here in the Smokies, water quality. It's an amazing place.
So a lot of things for students to do if they came here with their parents.
Definitely.
Tell me about the animals.
Wow. My favorite animal in this park is the river otter. That's one of my favorite animals. But we do have elk here, which is our largest mammal. Black bear. We have the biggest population of black bear in the eastern United States in this area. And we're also the salamander capital of the world. We've got more salamanders here than anywhere else, and different species of salamanders anywhere else.
So we actually did a little salamander hunting this morning.
Cool.
And I believe we found a northern dusky. So we saw that there were like 12 other different species we could have found in Elkmont alone.
Definitely in Elkmont, but park-wide there's like 30 different species.
So let's talk about the animals for just a moment.
Okay.
I've been coming to the national park for many, many, many years, since I was a young child.
Right.
And we saw lots of bear back in the day, but we saw bears getting into our trash cans.
Yeah.
Why does that not happen as much now?
Well, park rangers have learned some things. Back when I first came to the Smokies back in the 1970s and 80s, there were non-bear-proof containers at that time, and we were seeing more bears on the side of the road, but the population was very low. We had about 500, 600 bear. Most of them would get hit by cars or getting hunted outside the park because they're used to people food. But once we started getting the bear-proof garbage cans, the population has increased. And what we believe is that they're being forced to eat more natural foods. They're staying away from the roads, they're staying away from the picnic areas, and they're not getting hit by cars, they're not going outside the park boundaries to get well hunted and shot out that way. So we're learning as we grow as a National Park Service to preserve and protect our bears.
So it's a good thing, though, that if we see a bear, we just stay away, right?
Please do that, yes.
Right, and
yes.
we don't want to leave our food out
No,
at
not
those
just
campsites.
Not just for bears, but I mean raccoons, skunks, other animals too that would hurt them. there's certain types of plastics and stuff that will hurt birds that we leave them in there. So no matter what we leave, we're protecting all the animals, not just the bears.
And we have a motto here, leave no trace.
Leave no trace, yes.
So that means you leave it the way you found it,
right,
or in better condition.
Basically, leave only footprints is what we're asking.
Well, I see a lot of beautiful flowers and trees around here, and I'm pretty sure I want to dig some of those up and take them back with me. Am I allowed to do that?
No, that's what's so cool about national parks. National parks are the most protected land in this nation. No matter what's in this national park, everything's protected from the rocks, the trees, everything's protected. And it's mainly because it's the habitat. Every living species uses something in these woods to keep it a healthy environment here. So everything's protected.
When did this park come to be?
Well, the dream of this park was back in the 1920s, but it did not become a reality until 1934 when it actually became a national park.
So if we wanted to get to this park, what are some of the major roads around here that would get us here?
Well, there's two different entrances to the park. There's
Okay.
the Tennessee entrance, which comes in from the Knoxville, Tennessee area through Pigeon Forge and Gatlinburg, which is basically Highway 441 going south. The other is from Asheville, North Carolina, coming 441 north, coming through the town of Cherokee that way. That's our southern entrance to the park. Now, the Gatlinburg entrance is the most popular entrance to the park and the busier area, but folks from Atlanta, even folks from Miami, Florida will come up through Atlanta and come to the south way coming through this.
All right. So tell me a little bit about, when you said the history, who lived here first?
Well, first was the Native Americans. We believe that the Cherokee were the first in this area, but there may have been a tribe before that time. The Cherokee elders tell us that they believe that their people have been here some 20,000 years. Now, we've found artifacts in the Smokies that date back about 9,000 years. We don't believe there was probably any villages in what is now the national park, but there was definitely hunting areas here, maybe seasonal hunting areas.
I read also that artisan is very important here, the arts and crafts people,
Oh, yeah.
the people that have thrown pots and work in pottery. Can you tell me a little bit about the history of those people, and are they still around?
There's not as many as there used to be. When Gatlinburg, the town of Gatlinburg actually really got started, it was based on the artisan, which is mainly the folks who had lived here for 100 years or so using their crafts. They had lost a lot of that because of modern technologies coming in. The back to nature movement, the artisan movement that started during that time period was trying to recreate the basketry, the weaving, the spinning, even the pottery making, which is more on the Cherokee side than on this side over here. Even corncob pipes, but it has expanded into making different types of glass and things. But you just don't see that much anymore. It's really dying out, which is really kind of sad. But there's still a few people out there that will make musical instruments or do some chair caning, those kind of things. Candle making is another thing.
Well, I was going to ask about the music because we know that their music has a big history here in
Yeah.
the Smoky Mountains. Do you ever bring anybody over to the Sugarlands Visitor Center?
We do. We actually have a festival twice a year here, once in September. It's always the Saturday after Labor Day. We call it Music the Mountains. It's a 3-day event that we have here, and we have a lot of local bands that come and play everything from gospel to bluegrass to traditional old-time music as well. Even some of the Celtic music is played here as well. And then we also have an event during the Christmas time, which brings more of the traditional Christmas music in the area.
Well, what is the peak season for you guys? I mean, when is it really busy?
July's our busiest month, for
Okay.
sure. And that goes for about 4 weeks in July. We're really, really busy. Now, October is our second busiest, and it's only for 2 weeks in October. It's usually the 3rd and 4th week, and it's because of all these beautiful trees around us have this just rainbow of colors. But our season really goes from February through November.
Okay. I also heard something about some fireflies that like to really show off a couple weeks every year. Can you tell us about those?
That's our synchronized fireflies. We have 11 different species of fireflies here in the Smokies, but there's this one time period around Memorial Day for about 3 weeks, and it's a very unique species. It's only found in just a few places in the world where it's an amazing sight. You got to see it. But
We're trying to get in
I'm
the
trying
water.
to get you. Got to try it sometime. But I've never seen anything like that. I grew up with fireflies back home all my life, but these things actually blink on and off at the same time. It's just an amazing phenomenon, and they're synchronized, and they're found in just about every river valley here in the Smokies. But around the Elkmont campground area seems like they're a hub, and that's where the main show is.
So synchronized, I'm sure we've heard of synchronized swimmers before, where they do things exactly at the same time. Now those swimmers practice for this. But for the fireflies, this is just something that happens. Is it anonymous? I mean, do we know why that happens?
It's part of the mating ritual there, but it's something that there's a lot of things we just don't know. We don't, and we've got scientists studying this for sure. But they do blink off and on. They'll kind of do like a wave where some of them are on, some of them are off. They'll kind of come on and off at different places. It's a really cool phenomenon. Really.
And that happens around Memorial Day.
From Memorial Day for about 3 weeks.
Okay.
And then it kind of dies out.
Check that out, guys. We're going to have to come back to that. Yeah, it's going to be a beautiful thing. So, Brad, obviously this is a big place, but how big is it?
Well, right now the park is about 521,000 acres, or about 800 square miles. It's not one of the largest national parks in the nation, but it's not also one of the smallest ones. But the most unique thing about it is one of the largest protected areas east of the Mississippi River. It's bigger than Shenandoah or Acadia, those type of national parks in this area. We've got about 900 miles of hiking trails in the park and about 150 miles of roads.
What about waterways?
About 2,000 miles of waterways in the Smokies. Most of the water, which is really kind of cool. All the water on the North Carolina side and the Tennessee side all go to the Gulf of Mexico.
We were asking about that earlier today. So that water goes to the Gulf of Mexico.
Right. Even though the North Carolina side goes down east, it wraps around the southern end of the park and runs into the Tennessee River, eventually up to the Ohio, to the Mississippi on down. We're still much west of the eastern continental divide, where it goes into the Atlantic Ocean. So everything here goes in the Gulf of Mexico.
So if I wanted to go fishing here, can I just drop a line anytime I want to?
Well, you've got to have a state license.
Okay.
We do have a few restrictions here in the park. You do have to have a state license. It has to be a single hook, artificial lures only. But you can catch up to 5 a day.
Any catch and release, so much has to be so long?
7 inches.
7 inches long. I always catch bigger than 7 inches.
I want to go fishing with you.
Sounds good, doesn't it?
It does.
So Brad, we call it the Great Smoky Mountains. Why?
Well, the Smoky Mountains is easy to identify because these have been called the Smoky Mountains going back to the Cherokee Indians. There has been different types of stories that have been told that if you look at the mountains in the morning, there's always this smoke on them here, and the Cherokee believed that they were always on fire. So they were called the Smoky Mountains even before the first Europeans came through here. So as the Europeans came through here, they would call them the Smoky Mountains. The word great came in later on during the tourism period. To bring the great in, so it's Great Smoky Mountains, so bring people in to come visit.
A little advertising going on there.
Yeah, we're going to change to Amazing Smoky Mountains now. So.
Pretty much, yeah. We'll just keep using those words. All right, kids, you know what time it is now. We're introducing our challenge, and I brought in one of my park buff friends, Robert, and he's going to introduce our challenge.
So we heard from Brad that one of the really amazing things about the Great Smoky Mountains National Park is the number of visitors that come to the park. So wouldn't it be amazing if you could come up with a way to provide equity and access? So think about what makes national parks so special. It really is what you taste, smell, hear, feel, and touch. So I'd like you to think about one of those categories and how you could actually provide access for people who are challenged to see, taste, smell, hear, feel, touch the national parks. So that's a broad challenge, but we'd like you to think about it and can't wait to see what you create.
Remember, you're going to tag this on Twitter at NatParkChallenge. You're also going to use the hashtag #EqualAccess and hashtag Great Smoky Mountains. Thanks, Robert, for being part of the challenge.
My pleasure. Thank you so much.
So as we end our time today, Brad, I just want you to give the kids an idea of how they could be part of what you do. Now, we're talking to kindergartners through 12th graders here. So they've got some time to get planning, but are there any hints for them to get into the position that you have and just kind of knock you out of it?
Well, I encourage kids to do this because there's a lot of us that will be retiring in 10, 15 years, and so there's going to be definitely the future's there for new park rangers to come through. I encourage, first off, to take part of our junior ranger programs. All national parks have got these programs, and that way you can learn a lot of different things about the National Park Service. As you get a little older, there's internships. There's volunteer possibilities as a junior high and high school especially, where you can actually work in national parks for like 30 hours a week during the summertime, just kind of work in different divisions, whether or not it's the forestry division or interpretation or fisheries or whatever you're interested in. But really focus on, especially in high school, your sciences. It's very, very important. because no matter what you do with the national parks, you're going to have some kind of science there for sure. So, but the thing about the National Park Service is follow your dreams, because my job for me is a dream come true. I never thought in a million years I'd be standing here at a national park of what I'm doing right now, especially Great Smokies for sure. So if you have any kind of dream, whether it's history like mine was, or working with bears or anything, follow that dream. You know, just hug on to it and keep trucking along. But make good grades in school. Definitely go to college, and really even in college you can do seasonal positions as park rangers, which is really kind of neat because you don't have to get to tie down into a full-time job at that time. You kind of see where you're at.
So guys, this is Brad. And this is Robert, and this is Dr. Drizzle. Thank you for participating in today's National Park Expedition Challenge. We hope to see those challenges coming up on Twitter very, very soon. Robert and I will be looking at those. Come visit Brad. Please. He's lonely right now. He needs a buddy.
I do. Please.
Thanks for joining us, everyone. This is Dr. Drizzle, out.
Bye.